Hi, Vision Business Community. It's been a couple of weeks and we haven't had a guest on for a couple of weeks because, well, George and myself have gone from 0 to 100 very quickly, but we really wanted to make some time to bring in Hadi Ashni today. Hadi is the co-founder of the Talent Playbook and specializes in recruitment for the hospitality and the tourism sector, which is really a huge, it's basically one of the second largest industries in Australia and really underwrites our economy in a big way. And obviously one of the sectors that is having the most challenging times at the moment, and certainly a sector that we all have a duty or a responsibility to support in any way we can. Hadi, welcome and thank you for your very precious time. I know you're also very busy out there at the moment. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Talent Playbook.
Yeah, sure. Dan, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to catch up with you. It's been a while between coffees, as they say. So I want to thank you for also giving us the time to have a chat with you and your audience. We do definitely appreciate it. So where do I begin? A little bit about myself. I come from the hospitality. I have a hospitality background. It's in our blood, right? I've been in the industry for about 20 years now, and I've really worked in a range of positions from, when I was young and good looking, I was a flight attendant for one of the international airlines, all the way to more recently, I was in relationship management position and also coffee sales positions within the Sydney market, and then after that on a national scale. So with our speciality, then my wife and I decided to start the Talent Playbook as a way to give back to the industry that really helped our migrant parents survive in this beautiful country that we call home when they first moved here. So we're both first generation, migrants, if you want to call us. And the reason being is because hospitality was really the only industry that gave a chance to our parents to make a living for themselves. And really, with hospitality, it's been in our blood. My whole family, even Elle's family, we've owned restaurants. We've been working in the hospo game for a very long time. And so I guess in a way, this agency that we started a couple of years ago, the Talent Playbook, it's a bit of a love letter to our parents. It's a bit of a thank you letter to our parents for giving us the opportunity to make it here in Australia. We run a recruitment and HR consulting business, as you mentioned, and we specialize in a diverse range of disciplines within that hospitality and tourism space.
Mm-hmm. It is, mate, and I should just give a bit of a pretext around sort of our history. We met a few years ago. Hadi is very big on networking, and we met a few years ago when Hadi was working for one of the larger or major coffee brands, who ended up going on to sell to a pretty substantial listed firm, and we won't go too much into the details, but you were really fundamental in the strengths of that particular business, which unfortunately I don't think has had the future prosperity that perhaps everybody might have hoped. Certainly once you left as well.
Thank you.
But Hadi's always been really big in networking in the hospitality industry, and it has always maintained the highest level of integrity with everyone he interacts with. And I guess, how have you found that COVID has affected you and the hospitality industry at large, and obviously the role that the Talent Playbook play in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, we've suffered like everyone else. There's no one that's suffered more or less. Everyone's been impacted by this pandemic in one way or another. And on a personal level, with our agency, we literally had to go in a holding pattern. We've been sitting in a holding pattern for the last 3 months. You asked me before you switched the a Zoom call on, you said, how are you going with business? Reality is I purposely stayed off the phones in the first 2 or 3 months because I knew everyone had their, I guess, challenges that they were going through on a personal and with work as well. So really, I've only started reaching out to my clients, my relationships, and people in the industry from both candidate side and client's perspective over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that was just more of a, it was the right thing to do, the way I see it. The last thing I wanted to do was to be in people's faces when they had their own things going on. So, you know, we are working and engaging with people now from both sides. We treat both sides equally from candidates and clients' perspective, Dan. So we've all had our tough times, as I said, and I'm sure you've had yours as well. But my commitment as a business owner was to not only look after my own family, but at the same time look after my team and look after my staff. So on a personal note, I'm proud to say that we have kept everyone on. Of course, there was, you know, it was very challenging times, especially around March when things were changing literally by the hour. But we were lucky enough to not to have to let go of anyone in the team, and kept everyone on. And, you know, we consider the team as our extended family anyway. So that's how we've been impacted, and hopefully the only way is up as restrictions start lifting over the next coming weeks and months.
Mm. And we've got, with these restrictions lifting now, I mean, first of all, I'll take my hat off to you because, you know, you have placed a really big importance on treating your team like a family, and you've retained them all through this difficult time. And I think that's just absolutely critical. If every business can do that, then our broader economy obviously is going to be in a far better position. We can keep some money in everybody's pockets, which obviously, of course, is what JobKeeper is intended for. But look, now that we're starting to see the hospitality sector fire back up again, what are you seeing in the industry in terms of what should operators be starting to focus on? How should they be interacting with their personnel, and what's going to be really important in the hospitality sector as they start to fire up and ramp up again?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I think the number one priority for us as individuals is to really support the hospitality industry. And the tourism sector, of course, they go hand in hand. Hospitality is one of those industries that's the livelihood of so many small business owners and people and families. It's really the heart and soul of so many cities, Dan. Wherever you go, you get connected with that particular culture or city through their food, or their coffee, or their drinks. So I know that, especially here in Australia, we're at the forefront of the culinary and coffee sectors as it is. So it's really important that we continue to support our small business owners and the industry as a general. I know that it's so tough out there, and some of us will come out with, I guess, more scars than others. And that's why I keep reiterating that point. And I've made those, posts a couple of times through the different platforms where some people disagreed with what I said, and that's okay. Everyone's got their own opinions. But what I always suggest is just go out there, support the businesses. Their sole purpose is to provide happiness to people when they go through their doors. So just go there, and I'm starting to lose my words, but just support each cafe owner. They need us now more than ever, Dan. So it's really important to go there. Have a bit of intuition. If you see that the restaurants or the cafe is getting busy, and you're sitting there and your coffee's almost finished and you're not spending any more money in that cafe, move on. Let the next table jump in. Let people start turning over tables rather than just looking after yourself and sitting there and having a chat for an hour and a half over one cup of coffee. Make it 2 or 3. That's all I can say about that.
It's funny because the way that you look at support is from the perspective of someone who knows hospitality like the back of their hand. I think the average person would think of support is turning up and having a coffee, not necessarily being considerate over how long they're spending at the table and how much they are spending at the table. And it is really interesting because generally speaking, the other thing I think to consider about how you support a hospitality venue is actually through understanding. They at the moment, from my experience in dining out in cafes and restaurants these last few weeks, they're generally running on a little bit of a skeleton crew. They generally are trying to make ends meet, and they're not providing the greatest service, and they're not providing the greatest quality of food that perhaps they were, or coffee perhaps they were before COVID-19. They're all actually struggling operationally because they're trying to find the right balance between costs and revenue. And obviously they're very limited in terms of what they can achieve in revenue. And some businesses are taking this another step. They're transitioning around how they, for example, might look at payments moving forward. And I think Luke Mangan had a really interesting post where he insisted that anyone who booked at his restaurant paid for the table at the time they booked, and it sent sort of some of the community up into an uproar to say, well, that's not acceptable, and other people were very, very supportive of that idea. But the hospitality industry, I think fundamentally, and correct me if I'm wrong, but fundamentally they have to look at a shift around, number one, service, and number two, what they charge.
100%. To reiterate on that point that you made about people having different opinions about how a business decides to set up their opening hours during these restrictions. The numbers are simple, Dan. Think of it this way: when the restrictions first lifted and cafes started opening again, you had a maximum of 10 patrons, right here in Queensland anyway. And now, if you've got 10 customers sitting there for an hour each, spending $4 on a cup of coffee, and you've got a barista, a person on the till and a barista, and someone serving or waitressing or waitering. Now, $40 in turnover compared to how much it's costing the business to actually open the doors. The businesses or owners are already starting in the negative. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Don't go there and spend $4. Go there and spend $10. Go there and spend $12. And if you've got 10 customers spending $12 each, then at least you're giving someone an opportunity to survive and to continue to trade and be there and be that community hub that they are trying to be within their local area. That's my point, and that's why I say just be wary. And I know a lot of people out there that are wary of that, but at the same time, you always get the odd one that just it doesn't sort of click with them.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see the notion of customer service and the importance of customer service going, over the next few months? Is it something that broadly as a consumer nation that we are going to be forgiving on, or is it an opportunity for businesses to stand out and double down on their customer services ability, even though it might cost them more? What's the right thing to do, and what's the right way to think?
The way I see it is customer service is king, Dan. Without it, you're not going to survive. It's as simple as that. Okay. Especially now more than ever, and as businesses are opening up, the way I see it is, likability equals trustability, and on the other side of it, trustability equals likability, right? So if the business can't connect, when I say the business, I'm talking the teams, can't connect with their customers with one of those, I guess, key attributes when it comes to running a small business, then they'll walk away. They'll go to your competition. So end of the day, the way I see it, hospitality is all about being social. So if it's not in your DNA about being social and liking people and actually really being engaged with what you're doing in your day-to-day and running a business, then just don't get into it. I think this moment in time, customer service will be paramount in ensuring that whether your business survives or not over the next 6 to 12 months.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of attitude should venue owners and business owners, I think this is probably a bit of a loaded question, and you've perhaps already answered it in the answer to the last question, but I think if a business owner is looking at cost versus quality of staff member, knowing that, hey, if I recruit someone who's going to be, a superstar, as opposed to finding someone who will fulfill the role for half the price, where's the fine balance? Where's the right balance for them? What should they be doing?
No, I appreciate what you're saying, and I can't reiterate this point enough. When your business is hiring, you need to go through a recruitment process that is structured, efficient, proactive, with high communication level with all the people that are involved from the start to finish, right? And I know we're looking at it from a cost point of view, but hear me out. We all understand that right now, today, it's a client-rich marketplace. So you can put an advert up and the chances of you receiving 10 times the applications as what you would normally do before COVID is quite high. So an application where you might have received 50 applications for the same job today, you probably receive 200 to 300 applications for it. But if you don't have a structure then, and in terms of around how you recruit and how you go about interviewing to really engage and understand the candidates, what their motivations are and how they go about, their, careers. And what I call, clients usually tend to go by gut feeling. The risks will always be higher that it's not going to work out for the long term, okay? And that's where I'm going with this. The cost of replacing staff, a staff member, in terms of your recruitment process and someone not working out in the short term, will far outweigh the cost of actually partnering with a recruitment agency to go out and do it the right way. So, of course, that's, role dependent on generally speaking, but I suggest that now that restrictions are easing, business leaders, business owners should be getting out there and doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is to go out there and generate revenue, rather than sitting there and when they're looking at hiring, let's say a sales rep or an account manager, sitting there sifting through 200 or 300 resumes. That's not productive for that particular hiring manager or that business owner. So I suggest that you always go out there and do your research on the recruitment agencies that are specialized, that have credibility in the marketplace. See who you feel comfortable in working with in terms of that whole gut feeling that we're talking about. Get that across the line with the recruitment agencies as well, and just partner with them, because those, although it's a candidate-rich marketplace, and what I mean by that, there's a lot of people looking for work. Your business still wants the best of the best then. So those people that are the best of the best in their roles, they're not looking for jobs. They're not sitting there on job boards applying for roles. They need to be found. So that's why you need to work with a recruitment agency, because they are going to go out there and do those searches and really headhunt quality staff for you. And it's going to be a win-win at the end of the day for you.
Yeah, I mean, the hospitality industry, and this is a general statement, but the recruiting process is very rudimentary compared to virtually any other industry. And when you do that right, and I'm speaking from experience as well, it just can make a world of difference. And as you said, it's a lot more costly to pay someone for 3 months, invest in their training and education and induction, and then walk away 3 months later because they weren't a good fit and you have to find somebody else. What sort of opportunities do you see for businesses in sort of relaunching and reopening?
Well, there's definitely opportunities there, but we all have to innovate. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, Dan. You have to innovate and think of new ways to stay relevant to your audience and your marketplace. As the old saying goes, adapt or die, right? So all I can suggest is for you to go out there and find your space, be relevant, make sure you understand your marketplace and your audience, and you're always you're always knowing your numbers. It's vital that you understand your numbers when it comes to the back end of your business. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. The last thing that, of course, you need to do is to, give amazing service and product. And more importantly, really work hard on building those genuine relationships with your customer base. Your chances of survival are going to be much higher than that, than your competition. if you just work and concentrate on those key points.
And, in terms of businesses relaunching, I think a lot of businesses, and you use that word, adapt or die. A lot of businesses, I think, in the hospitality sector have found ways to circumnavigate these third-party delivery systems who are taking, 35% commissions, which is basically all of your bottom line.
Yeah.
And they've started deliveries, themselves. And I think if you're a consumer out there and you do order through places like Uber Eats, check with the restaurant or the cafe or whatever it is, first of all, and make sure they don't already have a delivery function, an internal delivery function where that 35% charge is not being eaten up by a huge corporate from overseas.
I'll take it another step, Dan. I'd say just get up and go to the shops and order direct, or call them direct. You don't even need to think about whether they're going to do deliveries or not.
Yeah.
We can't say we're time poor these days. Just I do that. I refuse to order through those platforms just because I know how much it affects the bottom line of the local restaurant around the corner.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just get up and go there and spend 10, 15 minutes having a chat with them and ordering my food.
Yeah, and look, I think that's a really important message to get through to people. Just a reminder that go and spend at these businesses. They employ around 1.2 million people in Australia. It's fundamental to the to our economy recovering. Everything that we can all do individually can potentially make a big difference for the hospitality sector. And I think it's really important that we all, do take some responsibility there. And it's obviously a message, Hadi, that you're just incredibly passionate about, which is great. And I hope everyone can be just as passionate about you in terms of supporting the hospitality and tourism sector. So Hadi, in terms of how can people get in touch with you? We'll post your contact details below. And if they have any queries around specialist recruitment, they can reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. And you just mentioned that obviously you're going to put all the details through, but LinkedIn is of course the go-to platform to find me, I guess. And if you want to reach out, you can always give me a call direct on my mobile, or go put an inquiry through our website. And all I ask, especially if candidates are listening out there, follow our business pages, because we engage with all the candidates on those platforms, whether it's our LinkedIn business page or Facebook business page, to really stay up to date with what's happening in your marketplace. And we put some really amazing content there, in addition to, of course, or most of the jobs that we start recruiting for. So if you see something that catches your eye, you can always reach out to me direct, and we can have a chat about it and see if it's something that's going to be suitable for you.
Okay, fantastic. Hadi Ashnai, that's Hadi Ashnai, people of the Talent Playbook. Hadi, thank you so much for your valuable time, and I look forward to having a coffee with you out there sometime soon.
And that's what I was going to say, Dan. I really also want to thank you, mate, for the opportunity to speak with you. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, I've known you for a few years, and you've always been genuine, Dan, and you've always worked with integrity. So I hope your family's well and you guys are all doing well. And I'm really looking forward to, once these borders open up, I miss Sydney. I spent 8 years there. So I'm really looking forward to coming over and having a cup of coffee with you.
Me too, mate. Thanks for your time and the kind words. And Vision Business community, thank you also for your time in watching this brief podcast. And we look forward to delivering more videos. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.